What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Obsession. I'm Karl Betby.
I'm Mike Sadler.
Mike.
Yes.
You know, we just did a show last week about CWD.
I do remember.
We're going to talk about EHD.
Right
And the
on.
reason I'm bringing this up is a certain individual that owns a bow shop kind of told me that I don't have a clue about EHD. And the particular area that he's from is the core area of CWD. And he was complaining to me because I said something, I haven't heard anything about EHD this year. In other words, deer being killed in the state of Wisconsin about EHD. So EHD, basically what it does is it is a midge base setup. So basically if you have mud, dried out areas, these midges end up biting the deer, they get the virus and it ends up killing them. They bleed out, basically. They dehydrate and bleed out. Some people will find deer that are infected with CWD and think that it's EHD, which I think in this area is probably, because it's the core area, and I mean the core area of CWD, this is where these two kind of come together. They mistake EHD for CWD for EHD. People are finding dead deer and they think it's EHD instead of CWD, when it's probably CWD. And they don't test them, they just find them dead in the woods, and they assume that. And in his defense, that's what he hears at his bow shop. You know, I found another deer dead from EHD, and it was probably CWD without testing. So,
Totally different disease.
totally different. Well, yeah, it's a virus. It's not a protein prion or anything like that. It's actually transferred to the animal by this midge. And in these areas, so one particular area near the Wisconsin River, obviously there's mud, bogs, and things like that. You're going to get this midge in there. A lot of people, swampy areas, any of the bigger swamps in the state, and we're going to talk about it here in a second, and we're going to talk about when we first started tracking it here in Wisconsin. Some of the first numbers that I have that are recorded are from 2012. We had a big EHD breakout here in southern Wisconsin. The big counties were Marquette, Sauk, Columbia, Iowa, Dane, Jefferson, Waukesha, and Rock counties. It's just southern Wisconsin that particular year. And these were confirmed by the DNR positives. Now I'm not going to add up all the numbers that they have laid out here, but basically Columbia County and Dane County and Waukesha County were the biggest counties with EHD positives. Dane County was the largest. Okay. Iowa County actually only had 3 confirmed EHD positives in 2012. Okay. The thing you notice most about EHD is we get it when we have large droughts. So last year we had a pretty large drought in certain areas, right? Not everywhere in the state.
Right.
But, here on your property.
Last 2 years.
Yeah, last 2 years.
Yeah.
I have numbers from 2022 that we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah. I'm in Columbia County.
Yep. So here Dodge County, Columbia County area, basically, we had no rain for what you say last year, 60 days.
It was 60 some days here. I'd have to go back and look at that.
And what did we do on your property? What did we put in last year to help support the deer herd we wanted here?
Ponds. 2
Ponds.
ponds.
Yeah, which was done we did it in December.
December is when we dug them,
Yep. And they held water.
Yeah.
We had good water coming into it. The thing about the ponds is, and we talked about this when we were doing it.
Yep.
If you create a pond, let's say you're going to make a pond like we did here at Mike's place, you have to cover the banks with some sort of cover. So what did you do on yours?
Well, we grass seeded it here. We worked the soil, seeded it, and then I straw matted it to get it to grow. And it'll have to be done again and again to get it to come out. We also planted trees around the ponds, which helps keep that soil cleaner, basically.
Yep.
So you got to be cognizant of that. Also, I think a lot of people don't know that a lot of this water that goes stagnant is really in the sun.
Yeah.
Just gets beat down to death.
Yep.
And that, which is where you get your cracking and all that too.
Yep.
Both of our ponds are not.
Right. They're actually in the woods.
They're hidden in the woods.
Yep.
So they don't get that direct sunlight, which gets that water stagnant also.
Yeah.
So that's a couple things to remember there. I mean, some places there ain't nothing you're going to do about that.
Right.
Unless you can do something with the soil around them.
Right. In some of these areas too, like in 2012, when I was talking about Columbia County, there's a large, where Poinette Bow Hunters used to be, which was right by Poinette, there's that large public area hunting ground just kind of west of Poinette. It's a big swampy area in the bottom right there. And that's where they had found a bunch of dead deer. There was 56 in that one swamp by themselves in a public hunting ground.
Right.
Same in Wisconsin, in Dane County, western Dane County, right on the border. There's a public hunting ground that one of my friends, when I worked at Kraft, used to hunt, and he shot some big bucks out of there. You go way back in, and it's one of them swamps that there's islands in the middle of it, and those deer are out there. And they found over 70 dead there. They found 26 dead in Cherokee Marsh that particular year in 2012. From all EHD. And because of the swamps and the cracking and mud in the midge, that's what caused the EHD kill.
I would assume that Columbia County, a lot of that was Paradise Marsh.
Paradise Marsh, yeah.
Giant marsh.
Yep. So we're going to go up to the next numbers that we have here, which are 2019. And we're going to talk about how many were tested and how many came back positive for EHD. 2019. 2019, we had a small, in southern Wisconsin, we had a small drought. Southwestern Wisconsin. Testing numbers: La Crosse County, Vernon County, Sauk County, Richland, Crawford, Grant, and Iowa again. Okay, so this guy that challenged me on this is from Iowa County, and he does have a lot of relevance in his statement. But what I'm telling you is they tested only one deer that they had found that somebody had turned in that thought was EHD, and it was not positive. Okay? Weird. In Crawford County, they found 218 dead. 8 of those were EHD positive.
Weird.
Richland, 7 tested, found dead, 3 positive. Sauk, 15, 2 positive. Grant County, 20 tested, 3 positive. Vernon County, 41 tested, 1 positive. And in La Crosse County, 5 out of 5.
So what you're saying?
What I'm saying.
Let me just see if this is what you're saying.
What do you think?
Maybe you're not a deer biologist if you find a dead deer.
That is correct.
Oh, okay, that's what I was thinking. So maybe it's not EHD.
Yeah. Could be natural causes. Could be CWD.
CWD.
Plenty of ways for whitetails to die in the wild. Let's not automatically assume that it's EHD.
For sure.
My point about this is, in the end, what it comes down to is people have a tendency to make excuses for things without really knowing whether or not it's actually that certain problem. If I find a dead deer on my property, say that buck I found last year.
Mm-hmm. We both did.
Yeah, we both did.
Yep.
We knew what happened to yours.
Yep.
Just because
we examined
we
it.
could examine it.
Yeah.
Mine was three-quarters gone. He was pretty much bones.
Yeah.
And I found him right by the creek.
Yep.
Was it EHD? Because he didn't die until probably January or February.
Was he gut shot?
Maybe. Did he get? He's only 100 yards from the road
and laid at the water.
Yeah, but now because of some people being a little overzealous at times, we automatically assume, well, he's laying by water. It was EHD that killed him because he went to the water.
Right.
That's not necessarily the truth. So that's kind of where we have to watch for that.
Yeah.
Now let's talk a little more modern numbers about EHD. We're going to talk 2020, then we'll go 21 to 23 and what they want to do about certain things, the DNR, and how they want to increase or decrease certain numbers because of this. Enteric hemorrhaging disease, surveillance in Wisconsin white-tailed deer, 2020 in September of 2020. The 2 counties that they have positives in. Out of all our counties tested, 2 counties came back. Buffalo County and was it Ocano?
Oconto County.
Oconto.
Big towards Green Bay.
Oconto.
Yep.
Okay. So they have 42 tested in Buffalo County, 1 came back positive. All right. They have 2 zones in Octano. 19 tested in 1 zone, 1 positive. 13 tested in another zone, 1 positive. Out of the entire state of Wisconsin for EHD. Tested animals. Now, I'm sure plenty of people have found other deer dead in their areas,
Right.
but they didn't have them tested to see if it was EHD.
Right.
Okay, so population objectives from the DNR from 2021 to 2023, which are now changing because of the new law that we spoke about last week.
Weird.
All right, so the majority of the state, most state or counties, they want to keep numbers maintained, especially in the central zones. There are 2 counties in the central zones because of this that they are talking about a decrease in deer herd numbers. Monroe County and Marquette County. So what do? They give out more doe tags. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Southern zones, Vernon and Richland and Columbia County. Washington, basically out west. Washington, Waukesha, Milwaukee counties out there, they want to decrease the numbers. In Racine and Kenosha County, they want to increase the numbers.
Right next door.
Right next door.
Weird.
I'm confused sometimes.
Me too.
And then obviously in the northern part of the state, we talked about
Yeah.
last week, the increase in deer herd, not shooting does.
The bill
for
to
4
stop
years.
shooting does for 4 years.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is based off, this is actually on the DNR website if you guys want to go look it up. But these numbers are for increasing or decreasing deer herd, and half of their math is based off the CWD, and other half of the math is based off of enteric hemorrhaging disease.
So what you're saying, or I should say what the facts are saying,
Yes.
is that EHD, not saying it isn't a problem,
Right.
but it is not a problem in this state.
Correct. And
Because
it's,
the numbers prove it.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
if you're finding a dead deer, don't assume
Right.
that it's EHD. It's most likely not from the testing that's been done.
Yeah. And if you want to have it tested, all you have to do is call the DNR. And they'll either come out and retrieve the animal for you and test it. They don't want you to move the animal so you can have it tested.
You know,
They want to observe the animal in the spot where it passed away because they can look at it. I want to say, I'll use the word forensically, air quotes
Right.
again. But they can look at it and be able to tell if it's maybe EHD.
you know where I think a lot of this comes from, the EHD?
What's that?
If you watch any of the TV stuff,
Oh, yeah.
you know where I'm going.
Yep.
They're finding these big bucks,
Mm.
laying whatever, and they're just saying right on there, oh, it says EHD, and
Yep.
I hear it a lot.
Yep.
Like, well, you know that from picking that up.
Yep. I've watched a lot of CWD deer go to water
Yeah.
also. Why? Because their body goes into a temperature. Basically,
Yeah,
they run a high temp.
it's shock,
Yeah.
kind of, yes.
Yeah. So they're looking for a way to cool down. Well,
Yeah.
for a whitetail, the easiest way to cool down is lay it on some water.
Yeah, it's about the only
Same with a gut shot deer.
Yeah.
Liver shot deer, they go to water.
Yeah.
That's the same thing as EHD, but you can't guarantee because the deer's laying in the creek that it's EHD. There was a lot of stuff this year in eastern Iowa where you've seen a lot of big TV show guys talking about, oh, my big bucks are all dying, we're finding them
Yeah.
in the water.
That's why I said what I said.
Right, and that's exactly what I think was happening over here in Iowa County where people were finding deer by the water and then automatically assuming it was EHD. And now I'm not saying that EHD doesn't happen.
Well, it happens.
It happens, and
Sure.
and we've obviously proven it here with the fact.
Well, you could get into blue tongue as well.
Well, here's the thing about blue tongue and
Yeah.
EHD. So, EHD and blue tongue, a lot of people think it's the same thing.
Yes.
It is, but it isn't. Here's the difference. EHD is specific to deer.
Yeah.
Blue tongue will transfer to goats, cows,
Cattle, yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah.
So
It's transfer
when we
process.
were in North Dakota,
Yes.
because we've hunted there for basically 30 years now, when they had EHD, it wasn't a big deal to the cattle farmers. When they had blue tongue, it was a huge deal.
Yes.
They pulled all their cattle out of the river bottoms, out away from all of that, because there was a chance that their cattle could get blue tongue.
Yeah.
And now they're losing thousands and
Yeah.
thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So that's where that becomes a
And
big
and you
issue.
know what they did out west? Cut the tag numbers.
Oh yeah,
They didn't go up.
yeah. Well, that's the other
So
thing
look
too.
at that.
Yeah. Now remember this too. If we start blaming certain things on disease, if you're a wildlife biologist, if you have too much disease, that tells you need to cut the numbers. And if you have to cut numbers, guess what it does for opportunity for hunting? It's not a good thing,
It goes
people.
down.
So think before you start
Yeah.
saying too much about what you really don't
Yeah.
know about.
Yeah, because you saying things like that and not knowing, that just bumps stuff up and makes it go a different direction.
Yeah, nowadays I think we seem to, I don't want to say glorify, we seem to overemphasize the problems and not pay closer attention to what really needs to be paid attention to, meaning the conservation of the animals that we're actually hunting and our ability to hunt these animals.
Well, Carl, it's way easier to blame than it is to fix.
You know, that's a fact.
I mean-
People seem to just do that.
Yeah, it's easier.
Yeah.
Let's just blame it on something. They don't want to fix it.
Yeah, there's
It's
a
not
lot
my
to
problem.
that. Yeah, we can
I don't
get-
care.
we-
You know?
Well, in the end, it affects everybody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
But I mean, know what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm not, just so everybody's aware, I am not saying anything bad about the individual that challenged me on this. What I'm saying is, in the research from our own DNR, it kind of doesn't justify the statement.
Right.
And it's not like I went out of the way to say anything about this individual. What I'm saying is that as somebody who's respected in the area, you should probably use the scientific data more than people coming in and saying, oh, I found this many deer dead from EHD or whatever else, when it could be CWD or whatever.
Well, you
It's
know,
creating that problem
you
and that
can look
hysteria.
at this in a lot of different ways too. Like if somebody brings me their car and I don't know what's wrong with it, I don't make something up.
Right.
I got to do my research and put my time into it and figure it out.
Yeah.
So it really is no different
Yeah.
in other things. In that, you know, and we have enough problems, you know, and then blaming, you know, wanting to blame the DNR for everything. You know, they're the ones doing the testing, trying to figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure stuff out, and trying to get accurate numbers. So finding a deer and saying it has EHD when you have no idea
Yeah.
doesn't help any.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to create hysteria, because hysteria can turn into bad decisions based off of not having facts. But I think EHD can be a huge problem in our state. Most of us who, you know, if you have a swamp near you, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, you can't.
I'd be honest
you
with
can't
it.
control that.
But if you have your own properties, you're creating ponds or water holes, make sure that you there's not mud around them. You know, go ahead and seed it up or all the way around them.
Should I try to get something in there?
Something to retain the soil from washing into the water also.
You know, trees around it.
Yep.
Try to prevent some of the drying that
Yeah.
can go on in there.
Yeah, if you could put a water hole in someplace where there are trees or someplace where you could create cover around it, it's going to be better for the deer anyway. They're going to come in there and use it more often because they feel safer. And, you know, I guess that's how I would kind of end that whole scenario.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. We appreciate you guys listening about EHD. If you get a chance, you want to subscribe, hit the Reaper in the lower left-hand corner. If you want to listen to the podcast, you can listen to the podcast on Google,
RSS,
Apple,
Spotify,
Amazon,
iHeart.
Check our pretty faces out right here on YouTube.
Yeah, buddy. Looking good.
All day long. If you want to check out Instagram, it's Rush Outdoors WI or The Obsession Podcast Hunting. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Keep subscribing and commenting. We love it. Later.